Right, we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Unrestricted, episode 7. I've caught up on the numbers. And today we have the one and only Combustion Corner joining us. So here he
Hey
is.
guys.
How are you all doing?
Hello all. Good, how are you?
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I'm good. It's Friday. I've actually got a long weekend ahead of me. So I'm not back to work until Wednesday. Um, I'm doing Wednesday and Thursday, and then I'm off on Friday again. So it's a good week.
Nice.
We're then in August. Um, and yeah, so we've got Dan already joining us. So hi, Dan. Um,
Hello, Dan.
but yeah,
Dangly? Is
so
it Dangly? I think it's Chris. I think it's Chris is his real name. Might be not
is it
remembering
Chris?
that
I don't
right
know
though.
why. I think he's trying to be funny with the dangly balls then.
Yeah.
And we've got Brigsby in the
Hey
house already as
Brigsby.
well. So yeah, welcome along, guys. So I think what I like to start doing every episode is just to find out who is Combustion Corner. How did he get onto YouTube, and why is he one of the most popular people on all of our streams?
Um, well, I think the whole YouTube thing kicked in for me just during the pandemic. It was just nothing to do, sit around, so I love racing. So then I started getting into sim racing stuff. So I bought a bunch of sim gear and I'm like, well, I've got all this I'm gonna do with it. Might as well just stream, I guess. And then figured out how to stream and all that. But I watched everybody else for a long time without streaming and just did videos on the side. Okay, well, I've got all the equipment. I've got all this camera equipment sitting around. So I was like, well, I might as well just start using it. And then I started going to
That's
everybody's
true.
stream and so went to everybody's streams and got to know everybody. I mean, it's just a great community. So I was like, well, I might as well just do Gran Turismo 7 then, since it seems like they're the nicest community by far. I mean, I've been in the iRacing streams and they're not as talkative to each other. They are a little bit, but not as much as the Gran Turismo community is. And ACC
It's an
as well.
interesting
It
one.
seems like they're not as talkative.
An interesting one because I don't know, like from a racing and realism point of view, and maybe that's why people don't talk as much in those ones. They are the
Hey,
most
Dylan.
realistic because I'm not going to bash on Gran Turismo, but it's a simcade at the end of the day.
Hmm.
But it's why we enjoy it. It's why it's probably a little bit more fun than going into iRacing and struggling to learn how to drive again effectively. Um, Whereas on Gran Turismo, it's you go in, you drive, um, and some people are faster than others, but it's just more easy, user friendly to start off with, isn't it?
Yeah, well, then they're so quick too. There's racing back to back to back, and I mean, they give you just right amount of time in between to practice if you mess something up. But it's not like iRacing where you have to go and schedule something an hour ahead, and then okay, I'll make sure I'm ready for that hour. But yeah,
Yeah, I've been watching a bit of iRacing recently, and I think maybe I'm not going to swear. I like graphics and I like things to look good.
uh huh,
Um, so like looking at Gran Turismo, you're like, this is brilliant. You got ray tracing, you can see all the reflections, the cars look fantastic. And then you go into iRacing, you're like, it looks like something I used to play about 20 years ago. Um,
I agree. I mean, I
so
guess the physics are there and it looks great, but man, when it comes to as far as pretty wise, Gran Turismo is hard to beat. And I think the new Forza will probably be pretty as well, but I don't know how pretty it'll be compared to Gran Turismo 7, and you don't have VR with that. So,
no, that is true. And it's one of those with Forza. It is open to more people because you can play it on the PC, can't you?
hmm
Um, but
which
my
that
PC
also
is just
opens up
isn't
hackers, and so hackers going in on the
that
times and everything.
that is true. Because you would have saw that I was playing F1 the other day, and in the back of my head, when I was looking for the times, I was like, you can copy the setups from other people, and I'm looking
Hmm.
at it, I'm like, oh, I don't that name. That would be quite an interesting one to copy because I'm sure they used a grip pack on that one. There's a lot of videos about that person. Um, but then I do like the idea of crossplay. It's um, quite good. But then you do have the hackers, which does open the door of how many of them are actually cheating, which is something we don't really have. a lot of on Gran Turismo. I mean, correct, tell me if I'm wrong, but
No, I mean every now and
our
then you'll
problems are
find somebody
different.
will find a glitch and then they'll fix it, like the one where they you could teleport to basically the last straight. I can't remember which track that was, but I was like, well, that was quite a
Oh,
funny
that
glitch that somebody
was
found.
that Lago?
Yeah, I think so.
Lago Maggiore. I think
Hmm.
was it a Daily B or a Daily C? I can't remember.
I think it I think it was supposed to be the C that week. I think. I can't remember though. Hey, Arkies.
I should know. You're right, Arkies. Um, let's just say hello to whoever's here. So we've got and we could do this. Hey Dan, um, who I come to the understanding that it's not Dan. It might be a Chris. Is it Chris? You said, doesn't it?
I think
So do
so.
tell us.
I've only seen it once in the chat, so we don't know for sure.
Yeah, do tell us if it's Dan or Chris. Because that will make your username even more hilarious if it's not Dan. Uh, we got Brigsby in the house. The beehives here. Um, it's because you're a legend everywhere you go. And we got Flash Dagger in the house. So Flash, do tell us, have you got over that 999? Is it in the 1K yet? Because just as we were coming on, it was on 999, um, which is for us over here. Dial the emergency number. Um, and we got Arkies in the house, who's currently on holiday, so a bit jealous of that. Um, and he couldn't
Where's
recognise you
Arkies
without
at?
the VR headset on. Um, I'm not sure where he's gone, but somewhere in Denmark, I believe. Um, and
We just got
Kayvon's
dinner
in the
ready.
house as well.
Hey, Kayvon.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we've met before. Valon. I hope Sony makes a PS5 Pro just for the fact PSVR 2 would benefit from the resolution bump. I hope they do. Um, I've got no experience with that CC, but tell, you play with the VR 2,
Yeah,
and do you think that a PS5 Pro would help with the resolution, or do you think it's more of a you need a PSVR 2 Pro in that situation?
I think you'd probably need a PSVR 2 Pro. I think the problem is the um, you're so close to the pixels. I think is why some people are having issues thinking it's not as crisp as they'd like to see. But that's just because I mean you're right on the pixels when you're in the headset. So,
Yeah,
but as I think it looks fantastic in there.
yeah. I haven't experienced it. I've tried. I can't remember what one it was, but it was a PC and it was with Project Cast 2. It was when I was in New York actually. Um, and I could tell that it was blurry because it weren't like the latest sort of headset. It was quite an old one, but it felt like immersive. Like it just I completely forgot about how blurry it was in there because I'm just focused on the track. And I drove Laguna Seca on it, and it was just mind blowing. Just that fact that you can actually see you can turn left and right, see who's there,
Hmm.
um, and you are literally that immersed because you can kind of just feel like you're in the game. Whereas I've only ever experienced that in real life, and I don't know if you can see the picture there, but the car I drove was actually quite similar to that in Project Cars 2,
Oh, nice.
and it took me back to how I was in that car. Um, so I think the resolution, it is what it is when you're that close to a screen. Um,
But yeah,
but
it's
yeah, it probably
amazing
would be a
how the
PS.
mind works. Because like and when I'm in the car in VR and there's sunlight on the arms of the guy, your mind is telling you that your arms are getting warmer, even though it's not really warmer. It's just your mind's. It just says, okay, yeah, you're supposed to start getting warmer now in your arms, so you start feeling that. It's really weird,
Yeah.
but it's definitely immersive. I love it.
So do you have a fan in front of you as well? So do you have something that's going to give you even more immersion? So by having the wind in your face.
I do have a fan every now and then that's down below me. It's just a little USB fan that you can't really hear on camera. So that way I stay a little bit cool anyway. But no, it's not for the
Yeah,
immersion factor. It's just to stay cool while I'm racing.
just to stay cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think someone's mentioned that you're buffering a little bit. I don't know if it's the whole stream that's buffering or just one camera. So let us know, guys, which one it is. Um, but yeah, so going a bit more into who CC is outside of the sim racing. And obviously, you don't. These are the sort of questions you don't have to answer, um,
Sure.
because it's about what you do as a living. Like, um, what does CC do when he's not streaming or watching all of us stream? Because you seem to go into every stream. Like, it's just you'll be in my stream, you'll be in someone else's stream, you'll be in another stream. So it feels almost like you're in four streams at once.
Yeah, and you can't see my office, but I've got 5 monitors all around me. So I've got several screens I can have up while I'm working, and just kind of chime in every now and then because I'm listening while I work, and then like, okay, if somebody said something I can chime into. But yeah, no, I'm actually a software engineer. I do PeopleSoft, financial programming. So that's what I do.
Okay, a bit over my head, um, with the financial program side of it, but yeah. So we've had two techie people in the last three episodes, which seems to be what the community's geared at, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
people
well, I
who are in
think
the
it goes hand in hand, really, doesn't it? Well, that's how you get into this type stuff. And it's like, well, okay, well, let's go ahead and get on. I can do what these people are doing. I know how to do all that. So,
until you get on. That's exactly how I used to think. It's like, how hard is it? Like, just you turn on the camera and you talk, and then you
uh-huh.
realize it's not easy talking to yourself. It's not easy talking
No, it's not
to,
at all.
and it's like right now we're having a conversation, so I can see you, you can see me, and that feels
Hmm.
normal. That feels like a normal thing you would do in a job. It looks feel like a normal thing you do in your day to day life. But how many people actually have a conversation with a chat where all you're doing is you're reading text? You don't know you don't know who the person is. You don't know what the
Yeah,
person's doing. You don't know what they look like, and you're just reading and responding to text.
or how they said it or anything. It's like, well, it could be just sitting there laughing, but like, oh, let's see how they take this.
There is that. There is that as well. There is that. Um, but yeah, I think the stream is good. So, um, but in terms of, so you're a software engineer. You
Hmm.
like Gran Turismo, and just looking behind you, that there's another telltale sign of something you might be into, which is music.
Yep,
Are
music
you
and
a bit of
golf,
a guitar
like
player and golf?
a little bit. There's my hole-in-one ball. It's got my scorecard and stuff up there
Oh,
for my
okay.
hole-in-one golfing. Yeah.
Was that at a famous golf course or just a
So I play
local
more
one?
golf than I do anything really. Just a local one.
Okay, so if you were to compare
I play more golf
watching
than I
Gran
do
Turismo
race. We'll put
streams,
it that way.
right? Okay, so
Hmm.
you race less than you play golf. Do you golf more than you watch Gran Turismo streams?
No, probably not. Because I
So
do
Gran
watch a
Turismo
lot
win.
while I'm working. So Gran Turismo wins. Yep.
Right. So Gran Turismo win. That's what we wanted to get at. Gran Turismo is still better
Yeah.
than golf. Um, but with the music, I'm sure Arkies might be intrigued. Are you on the level of Arkies, or is he
No,
just
no,
on a
not at all. I
completely
just kind
different
of
scale?
I take it off and I finger pick during meetings every now and then. That's about all I do with it at this point. I did lessons for a few
Yeah.
years back in the day, and then I just kind of stick with it here and there. But I probably only play it maybe
So
twice a month.
twice a month. That's more than most people. Um, I I've started to think maybe I need to get more into music because I know when I was younger, and when I'm saying younger, I mean a long time ago. I used to play the keyboard, uh, but if I look at a keyboard now or a piano, I have no idea what each keys mean. Um, so it's good that the community does have a few musicians. So maybe we'll have an episode one day where you and Arkies are both on there having a little symphony and find out who else is good at music.
Well, Bob, you know Bob's your uncle. Have you
Yep.
seen
Oh yeah,
him?
he plays music.
He
Yeah, I've
does.
seen
Yeah,
some of his videos.
he's a pretty good bass player, I think.
And someone did mention, I can't remember what it mentioned,
We could have Scotty
Affinity
sing.
Gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's a
Brigsby
pretty
plays
good
music
drummer.
too.
Oh yeah, he does. I thought he was more of an artist, but yeah, he does play music.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so it's a multi-talented community. This is probably, I think we should have a competition of Gran Turismo versus ACC versus iRacing YouTube, and trying to find out who is the most talented. Um, and it looks like we're winning.
At the
So
moment, yeah.
all the others can come. All the others can come into the chat and tell us what they think. But
We'll have to reach out to
yeah, so
Jardier and see what other talents he has.
oh, that is true. But that is true. And random call sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they might be quite clever as well. So it looks like Brigsby played guitar off and on since he was 5 years old. See, we were talking with McNaughty the other day about being able to read and stuff like that. And to me, in my head, when I saw that, I was like thinking, what do you mean off and on? I thought it was on and off. Uh, um, but yeah, so other than Gran Turismo, though, is there any other games that kind of intrigue you, or is it just are you focused on the
Um,
GT7?
well, I focus more just on all racing games. Really, I started doing the Rally 2.0.
Yeah,
That's a pretty fun one. I got that on PC. I've played all the Forzas. I've got the Forza Horizon 5, Horizon 4, and Forza 7. Looking forward to the new Forza Motorsport. I was thinking about doing iRacing a little bit just to try it out, but like you said, the graphics are just so hard to get by. It's just, it could be such a great game, and I'm sure the physics are amazing on it. So it might be worth it just to try for that, but I don't know. And it has the triple monitor support, since I got triple monitors, so I could try that out and see how it is. But I'm curious how the VR is on it, since it you can play that in VR too, but I just don't have a VR headset for my PC yet, so I'll have to look into
yeah.
that.
Is this for iRacing? Is it?
Yeah, yeah. So you can do
Yeah,
VR
I
on
think you can.
iRacing.
Yeah, because is it GT Leia? She plays iRacing and she does it in VR as well. So that's
Yeah, I believe
definitely
so.
something that can be done. We're just being asked about from Player Sport. Welcome along, mate. Good to see another streamer in the house. Um, is ACC good to revisit? Um,
I
I
think
can, I
if
can give
you,
you an answer on that. I can't tell you about the PC version, but I have been playing the PS5 version, and I don't know, did I stream it the other day when just after the new update, and it was terrible at the start. Like I think the grip just went, the car just didn't feel right, and then they patched it, and I got to say it is really really good. Um, Back to what you were saying about the physics on it, it is so good to drive. It's a complete different experience from GT7. Um, I don't know how I can explain it because it almost has to be tried to understand. But little things like how you go into a corner, how you downshift is completely different on ACC. You can feel the car sliding around a lot more. So if you turn into a corner a little bit too hard on GT7, it just kind of grips and you can kind of feel the back end go a little bit. On ACC, the whole thing feels like it's sliding off. It's just a completely different experience. But I would say definitely try it. Definitely, it's one of those, and it's regularly on sale. So if you've got PlayStation Premium, I think it's free. And I think I bought it for about £10, which is about $12. So it's definitely worth trying.
yeah.
Uh,
So he has it on PS5, which is good because I think they have the latest updates on PS5, but they didn't release them for the PS4 version.
yeah, so I don't. This is the thing I think with also with GT7. I think it's part of the problem that's holding us back at the moment. 'Cause I think it was Womble that commented on one of my posts the other day where I tried to poke a bit of fun at GT7 by doing a daily race on ACC. Um, and he said something about GT7 being a monster of a game. Like, and I started thinking, I'm like, the possibilities of what you can do with GT7 are absolutely incredible. Like, it's mental what you could do,
Hmm.
and we're being held back, I think, and I think it's to do with being two generations of consoles. You know, on the
I'd agree with that.
PS5, you've got a hell of effectively a PC. It's almost as good as a PC, I would say. And we're trying to make a game compatible with a PS4. So that's the imbalance I think we're getting. I mean, you probably tell me better from a software engineer point of view, um, but that's my view on it is holding it back. So if they just stop support for GT7 on the PS4 and say this is the game you've got, and we'll keep it, we'll fix any bugs, but that's the game you have, and then say right, we're going to take GT7 to the next level on the PS5. I think it will blow everyone out the water.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if they'll do it or not though, since it's already been released for
Yeah.
PS4. So I doubt they'll do it. So we're looking at Gran Turismo 8 in 2028
It,
probably for the
that's earlier than
PS6
I thought.
Pro.
I was thinking on 2030.
Oh, were you?
Whatever,
It does take a
what
long
console are we
time to
looking at?
release them.
But then at that point, they'll still be saying, no, we still need to support the PS5 or the PS4 Pro. So, um,
It'll be the Sony PC by the
yeah,
time it gets to that.
I wouldn't put that past them. I
Yeah.
think Sony are coming for everyone.
Hmm.
Um, right. Let's have a couple of questions. So, if anyone has any questions for CC here, it's your chance to fire it his way. I know there's one for me, and this one's actually quite funny. Right, so Player Sport does say he does have it on PS5. Um, I have to maybe reload it at some point, so definitely. I've been saying this a few times that we should maybe find out who has ACC and have a community race on ACC, maybe a daily race. We can't do next week's one, but at some point, say GT7 does this daily race. Let's go and do it in ACC and see how we get on for a bit of a laugh. Um, Someone asked why Captain Obvious. Why do you wear gloves when racing? It's cold. Is that an obvious answer? Um, I think I kind of held back from wearing gloves. It was more a couple of months ago. I had some gloves in the cupboard. I was like, why do everyone wear gloves? I'm just going to try it myself, and I didn't really get on with it. And then I tried it again a few days later. I was like, okay, it's cold outside, and I'm kind of just wearing gloves, and it actually feels better to grip the wheel. Um, and then I bought my new ones from Timu. I thought, just try it. It's Timu. I've got to try it. It's shop like a billionaire and all that stuff that they say. And they actually feel like I can grip the car a lot better. The wheel feels weird without it now. Um, and I feel less tired on the hand. So it's just a habit. Check out a video from Doubtinator as well, who did a video about a week or two ago about wearing gloves. That's probably a good one. He goes through does it make you quicker? Um, I can download this in, but I'm on PS4, so it's not very fun playing. But yeah, I wouldn't on the PS4. You're probably stuff there, Briggs. Um, is ACT got livery editor? No, it doesn't. Um, actually, it does have a livery editor, not the same as GT7, so you can do basic stuff like change colors of your suit, your helmet, and the car. But it's default designs that you have. They do look quite good though. And oh, Briggs, it's Timu. I'll probably have to get an affiliate link for that and send it to you. Um, but yeah, I'll definitely recommend gloves. It's a personal preference, but you know,
Yeah, I have really
just try
lightweight
it out,
gloves that
see
I
what you.
wear.
Yeah, do you wear gloves? Do you?
I do. Well, I mostly wear them because I have Alcantara wheels. So I don't want the oils from my skin to get on the wheel and mess it all up. But I also
I
wear
think
it
it'd
because
be
I was getting
horrible.
calluses all over my hands from because my torque's so high, my newton meters are so high on the force feedback. They're not high. I mean, they're only like 9, but it's
Yeah,
still pretty I mean, you're really grinding on when you got a hard corner.
Have you got the DD1? Is it?
Yeah, I have a DD1, so I'm only using it about half the power that it's capable of. But I'd rather use something at half than have something pegged out at 100% all the time.
Yeah, that's one of those I was thinking about. I was thinking I struggle at five. Like the amount of force that you get at 5 Newton meters is ridiculous, especially coming from a Logitech. And I was actually thinking, like in ACC, there's actually a bit at the bottom that tells you when your force feedback goes above what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets to the point where they call it a clipping,
Yeah,
and at
you're
that
losing
point, you're not
data.
really feeling anything in there. So I was thinking, actually, that probably makes sense why you would need more Newton meters in the base, and then reduce it to half because you're getting all the feedback, but just less force of it. Is that right to say?
Correct. Yep. So you're losing
Yeah.
detail when it starts
So
clipping.
yeah, and in the ACC, it does have a thing where it tells you um, at what point it's clipping, so you can adjust the wheel to do that. So it's probably worth actually doing that for just to for GT7 because if you see if it's doing that in ACC, you can probably peg it down and it'll work in GT7. So what we'll do is let's have a quick read while um, I get the sponsors of the show on the cards. This will be a bit of a laugh because I was saying earlier that I've not read it before. It's just going to be a completely new read, so I'm probably going to mess it up and yeah, just laugh. So back in about a minute or so. So yeah, wish me luck.
Good luck.
Um, yeah, so with the summer here in full swing, I want to take a second to talk about self care. And when it comes to making an impression, proper grooming is essential to looking and feeling your best when you walk into a room. That's why the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped, are committed to helping men around the world walk and talk with some swagger this summer with the best grooming tools on the market. Have him join the 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and enjoy this offer of 20% off and free shipping with the code ChunkyGT at manscaped.com. Don't neglect your beautiful self and get right this summer with Manscaped. So for the sleekest version of yourself, covered they have you covered from head to toe, starting with their brand new beard hedger trimmer. Um, I haven't actually got this product, but it's one that I am looking at because trying to tame this is a bit of a pain. But with a 1 guard and 20 adjustable lengths, this device is a perfect travel companion fit to take care of your mane wherever you are. And next in line, don't forget about their signature performance package 4.0. Included in this ultimate grooming bundle is the star of the show, the Lawnmower 4.0, equipped with skin-safe technology to minimize nicks and cuts in all of your sensitive areas. So once again, Manscaped supports the Chunky GT Unrestricted podcast so much that they provide exclusive offers to our listeners. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code ChunkyGT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code ChunkyGT. Chunky GT. Feel like yourself again and take charge on your life with Manscaped. Um, so yeah, that's the sponsor of the show. First time I've read it, first time I've seen it. It wasn't as bad as some of the others. So, um, but
I
yeah,
was expecting it to be more humorous.
yeah, it's well, yeah, I was. I might contact them and say, look, just just take it up a notch a bit.
Yeah.
We need a bit more comedy in these ones. So, um, but yeah, I've got to say thank you to Manscaped for supporting the show. Um, as you can see in the little ticker down below, um, and it does help um, every little bit just to have someone like Manscaped putting a name on the podcast, which considering it's a new podcast, it's good to have them on board. So um,
Yeah.
we've just had Brigby saying
I've
thank
used their
you.
product in the past.
Sorry, what was that?
I've actually used their products before, Manscaped. Have the
You
old
have?
trimmer, I have the
Uh,
3.0. the old technology.
Oh, not the 4.0. Oh, the 3.0 is the
No,
4.0 is
I'm not
good.
up to date like you guys are. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was lucky. I got sent the new stuff, so I can't really complain. So,
Yeah.
um, the hedger, the one that goes up your nose, that is brilliant. I got to say, it's the one I use the most. Um, and I think my barber is a bit annoyed that I'm not going in as often to do my beard. Even today, I was there. It's like, "Do you want to do your beard?" I'm like, "No, not today." Uh, so I got that covered. Right, just a couple of questions. I think you've given the answer during that. Um, what wheel do you have? Only asked us by Logitech 29 pedals have occurred a blipping issue, and apparently it's an issue with the system. Um, what wheel should I get? So you've answered that, I believe. Um, Logic Pros are fantastic, and the DD wheels are fantastic. Oh, and Fanatec are great. Right, I'm going to try and be a bit cheeky here. Right, so if you go into my channel and my community posts, scroll down a little bit. Fanatec are really good, and there's an affiliate link if you do want to get something off Fanatec. So it would help me out if you did go for Fanatec. So I think in terms of the products, I can't compare to the Logitech. But if you check out the previous episode with McNaughty, he talks about the Logitech, which he has. Um, and from what I'm led to believe, it is meant to be really good, but it is pricier than the entry level Fanatec's. So it's a bit of a budget issue, I think, in that scenario.
Yeah, and they don't have multiple
Um,
wheels yet either on the Logitech side,
no, they
whereas on the
don't.
Fanatec you have a ton of different wheels you can get for it for the different styles of wheel or different driving.
Yeah. It does come with the standard GT rim, which I don't use very often, I must say, because being Fanatec, they do have, like you said, different wheels, and the McLaren GT3 one is my go-to. It's the one I use constantly, and I know a lot of people use that um, because for £200 for a McLaren GT3 replica, um, it's a very good wheel. But I'm not taking anything away from Logitech because I don't know what it's like, but it is meant to be powerful.
Yeah, and I don't think McNaughty's using it to its full potential either yet. So I think that one's got 11 newton meters, I believe.
Yeah, I think he said he was using it at half as well.
Yeah,
Um,
which, like I said, that's still pretty powerful at 5 newton meters.
yeah,
But
it
yeah,
is. I
no.
mean,
Speaking of products, I actually got a company reach out to me,
yep.
VR Rock, for their prescription lenses that you put in your VR2 headset, which is cool. So I'm got to do a review on them. So I'll be doing that this week, probably coming out next week or the week after. And I actually have affiliate links for that one as well. Whenever I get that up, so you guys will see that.
So tell us
They're
a bit
actually
about.
one I
So
stream
we were
too.
talking. So we were talking about this a little bit just before we came on air.
Mm.
Um, so just as I was thinking, obviously we can't see the product because you're going to do a video on that, and
Yeah,
that's a bummer. I was hoping for a scoop here of getting a sneak peek, but we're not. Um, so in terms of prescription glass, because I've always thought I've actually got a VR headset here, right here. Hold on, right. So this is my Gear VR2, um, which I didn't even know I still had. It just sits in the desk now, just because it looks pretty cool.
mm-hmm.
But like you say, if I try and put this on with my glasses on, it's going to be a bit of a pain, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um, and like you said, you were talking about earlier, you are that close to the lens, so you're going to see all the pixels in there.
mm-hmm.
Which actually, I think I can compare it to what. Tell me if I'm wrong. So I use that with a Samsung S8, which had a 4K display. So it's probably going to be very comparable to what the VR2 is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're
Yeah, it's
looking for the
2K
lens into a
per eye.
4K display. Yeah. So I could see the pixels, but if you've got bad eyesight, you're going to see it completely blurry. Is that the sort of product that's going to help fix the crisp, not necessarily the blurriness from the the screen because you can't improve the pixels,
Hmm.
but it will help improve the clarity, won't it, without having to have your glasses on there?
Correct. And plus, so they actually you send in your prescription, and then they send you a custom set of lenses. So these are little, just like magnetic, and you just slide them on top of the lenses that are in there, and it just so it acts as a protector to your current lenses, which is great since their VR2 is not exactly cheap, or any VR headset. They do all the VR headsets, so you can get prescriptions for all of them. And I think I've got a code for 10% off as well when people do that, get a purchase through there. Um, but yeah, they just slide on the over the top of them, and then they're your prescription. So it's just like if you had perfect vision to begin with, and then put headset on, it's the same way, and not having to wear your glasses. Plus, they come with the blue light blockers as well in there. So like if you should get less fatigued while using them too.
So the blue light is quite a big thing, and I know there's glasses for that. And on my TV, I don't use blue light glasses with my TV because there is a feature that you can on most TVs now use, and you can do that on your phone as well, which is turning down the blue light and adding more yellow in. So
Hmm.
I find that doing that helps the fatigue on my eyes. But if your TV doesn't have that, and I'm guessing you can't just change that on the VR2, that's probably a very good thing to have in terms of your eyes not getting tired and being able to just rest them a bit more, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Plus, you can
Yeah,
race for longer too, so that's good.
that's true. So if your other half or the kids are annoying you and you want to play for longer, but you don't want to have a headache, get these
Yeah,
prescription lenses,
there you go.
get your 10% off, and it's a win win for everyone. You're not annoying your other half, you're not annoying the kids, they're not annoying you, and it's a win win. So, yeah, and you're
Yeah,
saving
and
money
as
in the
far as I know,
process.
they come in their own little case. So if you have multiple users, you can just take them off and put them in the case when you're done.
And if multiple users do have glasses, you can order
Yeah,
multiple pairs.
there
Yeah,
you
and
go.
save even more. So, we're being proper salespeople here, ain't we?
Yeah,
Um,
we're doing our
yeah,
job.
welcome along there. Welcome along, Greasy. Um,
And Nay,
comes to
hello, Nay and Greasy.
yeah. Oh yeah, Nay. Where are you, Nay? When did you sneak in? Right, I'm going a bit. Oh, there he is. Evening, Nay. So yeah. So does anyone have any questions for CC? Let's open the floor to ask questions. You can put whatever you like. Remember, it's unrestricted. No restrictions on what's on there. Um, I know Brigsby wanting a sneak peek. That's not going to happen, Brigsby. That's not for us. We're not worthy of it today. We've got to wait until a later video. Um, right. And also, while we're doing that, while waiting for people to type along, which I'm guessing they're all there frantically typing, just put up the reminder to subscribe to the channels. Um, not just my channel, but also CC. Um, because I was looking for the amount of streams that you go into. What are people? Why are people not pressing that subscribe button on your channel? I have no idea, and
Well, a lot of
I
people
think we
don't
have
know
to.
that I do stream. I think is what it is, or do
Oh, do
have
they
a channel.
not?
To be honest, yeah, I don't really
Right. So
advertise
they
to
might.
people when I go on channels.
Well, that is true. I think
I think it'd be rude if I
I'm just
did,
trying to think.
so that's why I don't do it.
Yeah, it's one of those grey areas, isn't it? Like I think there's a few channels where they actively encourage you to do it,
Hmm.
but there's certain channels where you're like, right, it's someone's business. You don't really want to go and say, stop watching this person, which is great, but come watch me instead.
Uh
Um,
huh.
you probably tell to bugger off. Um,
Yeah, I've seen it
so
happen in some streams where people started advertising themselves and just said, "Yeah, not here, not now." Like, okay.
it's tempting because you kind of do want to be like, right. So like today, I was watching Rory stream and I was like, oh, can you imagine like 300 people watch this? Maybe I could just put something in there saying, come and watch my channel. I'm like, no, but that's not the point. It's just hilarious. Like this is, this guy has got such a community, and I'm like, let me just take what I've seen here and try and understand what he does. Why do people watch this person and try and replicate it for me, and then try and build it myself? Um, Briggs just says you can come along and anyone is more than welcome to advertise it in any of my streams. It's the same with me. I don't really care, you know. That's why I do this podcast, because it does put myself out there. So it's kind of a bit of a random one, because I am putting myself out there and trying to say, right, I'm exposing myself to your communities, but at the same time, it's both ways, isn't it? So, but it's really nice to see that everyone that has come onto the podcast has either hit the 1,000, or is very, very close to it. So maybe we can, like Briggs would have seen the dono train on Rory Stream. Maybe we can have the 1K train on the podcast.
That'd
Um,
be cool, wouldn't it?
can you imagine that? Like, if in 6 months, like we've had every guest that's come onto the show hit 1,000, that would be awesome. Just the way
That
we're
would
like
be really
spreading,
cool.
like just the way we can spread the community. Because like, even though when we're racing people, I don't even know who people are. And I was actually just watching going through my channel yesterday, and I scrolled to the very bottom. And I was like, oh, I remember this day. I had a race with Rory. I got into top split, and I was thinking, oh, that was a good time. I'm a B-rated driver now. I'm not going to get there anytime soon. And then I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, James EV was behind me. I have no idea who he was at the time. I didn't even
Uh
know he
huh.
was a streamer. I didn't know where he was based. I have no idea. His voice was absolutely incredible. And it was only
He
until I was
does have a
watching it
nice
yesterday, I
voice
was
for
like,
sure.
oh, he does. Like, let's not make his head any bigger. But yeah, his voice on these videos that he's been putting out recently, very welcome. But I was like, how did I not know who he was back then? And you kind of just go back and have that bit of nostalgia again, don't you? Um, but yeah, I think Briggs has just mentioned that Flash just needs one sub. So um, let's try and do a little something here. Let's try and pop into this, um, and we're going to try and see if we can get Flash to the 1K. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen. I want to show a tab. There we go. So let's go pop into YouTube. Let me find Flash. Right. And we're going to try and see if we can get Flash to hit the 1K while. Oh, he has. He has. Right.
He
So
has.
this is really good. Flash has hit the 1K, guys. Um, which
Nice.
is incredible.
Congratulations,
Can I
Dylan.
make the? Yeah, that's very, very good to see, because he's one of the guys that when I first started, he wasn't. It was about 500 subs, I think he was at the time. So yeah, congrats, mate. Um, more than deserved. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good.
Yeah, it's
It's good
definitely
to
one
see
of the
another
nicer
one of
guys
the
on
community
YouTube.
hit the wall. Yeah, he is. And again, the voice is very good on the ears. Let's just say, with the accent as well. I'm just hoping. Do you think we can get Flash to do a stream where he actually puts his face on the camera as well? What do we think the odds of that?
I don't know. He says he gets nervous when he's racing and talking, but he has no problem talking in front of a bunch of people at work. So I think it's just the confidence he has in what he does for a living versus his racing confidence, I think, isn't as high. But he's one of the fastest guys I've watched. But yeah, we
Just
just got to
something
get
that
his
you said
confidence
that.
up.
So yeah, just that you said that. Do you work with Flash?
I don't.
Oh, okay. I just for a second there, you're saying like his confidence at work, and I'm thinking, hold on, do you two work together?
No, he's
Um,
just based on what he said in people's streams that he has all the confidence in the world to talk to, get up in front of 1,000 people and talk, but he gets like camera shy when it comes to YouTube, I think.
it's interesting because that's the opposite way around for most people, isn't it? Like most people, I like if it was me, I would hate to go in front of a room and speak to a group of people. But I think on YouTube it's slightly different because, like I said earlier, you're just talking to text. You're seeing
Mm-hmm.
text and a profile picture. So in my head, I'm like, I'm not thinking about the people that are in the room. So that's actually quite interesting that because having someone who's the opposite is comfortable being in front of, let's say, hundreds of people or 30, 40 people, but then wouldn't be as confident doing that in front of 30 people watching when he can't see them. It's quite an interesting one. So, um, but yeah, I'm just glad he's got to 1,000. He
Yeah,
just needs to
de-
get his hours
definitely.
up. Can you hear that, Flash? Hours, videos. Just publish them. Don't hide them. Publish them.
Yeah,
Um,
he's been doing
but yeah,
doing good lately. He's been releasing more videos now, which is good.
and his videos are always like a different type of video, isn't it? It's like I feel like they're slightly different to what everyone else does. Like even the one he put up about the track guides, it's kind of like what other people do, but not the same as what other people do. Because he had that one bit sort
Mm-hmm.
of showing this is how you don't do it. This, when you do it wrong, this is what happens. And then he goes back to showing what you should be doing, which is different. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a different take on something that other people do, which is what you want to see, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's definitely he's refreshing. We'll put it that way. He's got a nice, very understandable Irish accent. If you're not very good at understanding accents, then he's definitely you can hear him understand what he's saying a lot better than some other people. Which is
Like
always funny
Scotty.
when people think that Scotty's Scottish, and I don't know if it's just his name being Scotty and people associate him being Scottish, but I think I've seen him get more asked, "Are you from Scotland?" than knowing full well he's got an Irish accent. So I don't understand. I don't know if it's just the lack of knowledge of different accents people have, or if it's just people just associate his name with being Scottish.
It could be that. I'm going to ask you a question because I listened to one of the podcasts I was listening to. Um, I don't know if you've heard of the Brilliant Idiots over there with
Mm-mm.
Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz. But they were talking about I can't remember who it was they're referring to, but they're talking about the Irish accent. Um, and Charlemagne kind of just thought that Ireland was part, or the Republic of Ireland was part of the UK, which it isn't. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's people like the geography is of some people. Like it's the same everywhere, not just in the US of A. Even though I can tell you funny stories about geography of young adults in the United States. It's quite. It was
Yeah,
quite funny when I was out there. I mean, I had people asking me where I was from, and I was trying to say I was born in Portugal, and people was like, "Where's that? Like next to Mexico?" And I'm like, "Definitely not." But
yeah.
yeah, so
Where
we've
I was
had
born in the Bahamas,
Papa's
I don't look
house.
like it, but
Well, you don't, do you? I mean, you look like you were born in the USA, but that's actually quite a nice place to be born, isn't it?
yeah, I'm actually British too. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know. So right, let's get into it. So you're British. So you're born in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mom's from
guessing. Was
Yorkshire,
it to
dad's
British
from
parents?
Manchester. Yep.
Oh, okay. Right. So okay, this is good. This is good. So my in-laws are from Yorkshire, and I live in Manchester. So that's quite.
Yep.
This is where the world becomes so small, doesn't it? Like,
Uh-huh. Yep.
so your
And
British
I used to
parents.
fly there every year, so I was flying into Manchester every year for until COVID hit, essentially.
Oh,
And then I'd go
poor
back
man.
and
That's a
forth
horrible.
between Yorkshire and Manchester the whole time I
So
was there.
whereabouts in Yorkshire? Not York though, is it? Because I'll tell you this a funny saying. So this
No,
a
I do.
law.
I have a cousin that lives in York. Hmm.
Yeah. So this is a funny story, right? So if you're from Scotland, so if you're watching this and you're Scottish and you're planning on going to York, just be very, very careful. Because if you go inside the the walls of York city centre. You can legally, I mean, don't know if it'll hold up. You can actually be shot by a Yorkshireman with a bow and arrow. So just be careful
Yeah.
if you're planning on going into Yorkshire and you're from Scotland. You could. The law does say you can be shot with a bow and arrow by a Yorkshireman who was born inside the Yorkshire walls. So they probably don't exist, but just be careful, just in case there is that one crazed one. Um,
Yeah.
and Papa's
No,
House of Game, British Bahamian.
yeah, British Bahamian. That's me. Hello, Eric, by the way.
So
Let's
right,
let's
I need to
pop
get
it.
to know these names because it seems like I'm falling behind here because Papa's Eric. I
Hmm.
know amateur GT driver is Freddie. Um,
Is Brigsby,
what
is
did you
it
say Flash was called? Is
Nathan? Flash is Dylan.
I think Flash is Dylan. Brigsby's Nathan. You're Rob.
Hmm.
Um, I'm Helder,
Helda.
and I completely forgot. Greasy, if you're still in here, what did you say your name was when we had the podcast? I don't think we did we? Um, oh, Brigsby is John.
John.
So yeah,
Jonathan, that's right.
hi
Yeah.
John. Hi John. Yeah,
Not Nathan,
Jonathan Brigsby.
Jonathan.
That's it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just bonkers. Like just because I was sort of talking to this my wife about the other day. It's like I was saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna have Combustion Corner on the podcast, and then the week before that, I was like, I'm having my naughty, and I'm like, it's like, these people have names? It's like, yeah, yes,
Yeah.
they will have a
I don't know
name.
McNaughty's name. Yeah.
Did we get?
But yeah.
No, I'm
No,
pretty sure we did.
so your family's from York then? Is that what you said?
Um, so it's a bit of a weird one. So my in-laws are from um London. I grew up in London, but they moved to Yorkshire. Um, but even though I'm from London, I was born in Portugal, so I'm technically Portuguese without a British passport. So I'm not British, even though I sound like I'm Cockney. Yeah, just this. It's yeah. We
Yeah.
also got
I
another
got rid of
person
my
that
British
I've never
accent
seen
when I was
before.
about 14.
So you moved over to the US quite early, was it?
Yeah, I was about 10. And then I had a British accent for 4 years until I got tired of talking for people. They'd say something, and I'd have to say something on the spot in my accent. But it's like, no, we're going to be done with
Can
that.
you
I'm just going
still
to have an
put?
American accent now. Yeah, I get one when I go
Can you
over.
still do a British? So you can
Yeah,
still do it right.
yeah,
So one of the funny things because when I used to live out there is I experienced that, and having a British accent in America is one very entertaining, but two it can very easily get tiring quite quickly. Um, because
yeah,
I remember being in Atlantic City um, on a night out, and people just hear me speak, and it's like, "Oh, do you know the Queen?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I know
yeah,
the Queen. Yeah, know her very well. I used to walk her corgis, by the way. Just
yeah.
you know, so you do get asked all these things, and people just want you to say a bottle of water, which I don't know what's
Hmm.
so funny about that. Um, and we've also got another member of the community, which I don't think we've met before, which is goes by Hector.
Oh, there's Hector.
Um, is that someone you know?
Marco.
Um,
Yeah, he's recently
but their
subscribed
name
to
is
me, so
Marco.
thanks, Hector. I think I returned the
Okay,
sub.
thank you for popping by.
Who's got a BMW in
Yeah,
his
and I'll have
picture?
to do the same. Yeah. Um,
What you drive a
we won't
French
say
car?
anything
Is that
about
right?
BMW drivers. I
Yeah.
do. I can't really talk too much about cars because um, Hector, I don't know what country you're in, but in the UK, um, BMW drivers and Audi drivers get labelled a certain way
Uh-huh.
um, because well, they don't know they don't have indicators or blinkers in Audis and BMWs in the UK. I don't know if it's a design flaw that they had um, because it seems like they don't have one. But I have a French car which is known for breaking down. French cars tend to not last very long, and it has this little thing on the side near the steering wheel that you press up and it turns it lets other people know that you're going to the right, and it down it lets people know you're going to the left. Um, which I think is fantastic technology in there. But yeah, I drive. So I'm just trying to be funny there, Hector. Um, but yeah, I drive a Renault Megane, which turns out I got it 5 years ago today. So happy anniversary to the Megane.
Nice.
Um, and the wife drives a Citroen, which is a pain in the rear end. Even though it's a 2-year-old car, it's a pain in the rear end. Um,
So you get one that breaks down and one that's pain in the rear end.
um, I think they're both a little pain in the rear end. I think actually no, I'm gonna take that back because the Megane hasn't really given me any issues until recently. Um, oh, that's fine, Hector. So you have the German version of the car which does have the indicators and the blinkers, so that is fine. Like you're right. I just need to. I'm just not sure why they haven't imported that technology into the UK. Um, so, but yeah,
Yeah.
the
I have
Megane
an
doesn't
Audi
really
as
give me any
well,
issues. It
by the way.
needs, yeah, and the Audis as well. Yeah. Um,
Well, I have an Audi.
the issue I'm having with the oh, you have an Audi. Oh,
I
which
do.
one?
The
Which
S5.
one?
It's
Okay,
a
that's
2009
is
2009 S5, the one with the V8 in it.
right. And is it a convertible or is it a normal
It's a normal
roof?
6 speed, yeah,
Normal roof.
normal coupe with
That's
the
fine.
where's the coupe? Yeah.
That's fine. Because I think the S5s came out in about 2007. I think it was somewhere around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a colleague that I had at the time had an Audi A4 convertible, and he got the S5 convertible. And he came into work one day, and I don't think he watches this podcast. So if you're listening, David, um, and he was showing the soft light. He's got his brand new S5. It's just been released, and then like a week later, he's had to send it back to Audi because the roof wasn't working. So he was in the car park at work, and his roof got stuck halfway.
Oh no.
so he couldn't. So he couldn't drive anywhere because the roof was just like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, so he had to get another A4 convertible. Um, I must say the A4 convertible was really nice. I can imagine the A5 is also good. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do like the S5s. And is it the S line or just the standard one?
It's the S line, so it was
Oh, okay.
not the RS, but the one right below it, but the same engine, just
Yeah.
not tuned. Well, mine's tuned, but it's since been tuned. We'll put it that way.
I used to I had a boss a few years ago who had I don't know if you have it over there, the A6 estate, so would you probably call it a wagon?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right in
Yeah.
saying that? And it was an S line, and he said, "Can you just take this car to the garage to get new tires on it?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll take it. It's fine, no problem." So I got to drive the A6 S line estate to the garage, and I must say, if you put your foot down on those, they do go.
Yeah. They're a
Um,
lot of fun to drive. Well, there's Al. Hello,
yeah,
Al.
so hey Al, his phone just died, but back now, so that's good. Um, let's just pop him on. So Aop, um, that sounds very Yorkshire. So it keeps in theme with the rest of the chat.
Yeah.
And
Yorkshire.
he smashed the like on the way in. Yeah, so I should have brought my Yorkshire mug because I've with the in-laws being from Yorkshire, they've tried to convert me. So I've got a flat cap now in the cupboard.
Nice.
Oh, he's from Hull, so not far. And I've got the Yorkshire sayings like "Eckers like" and all that sort of stuff. I think one of my favourites going. Let's go to Pob.
Yep.
That's got to be one of my
Everything's
favourite.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
Oh,
so
I know all the farmers up there. That's all I heard when, because my family's from the Dales, the Yorkshire Dales. So we still have
beautiful.
there's a big farm, like an Uncle Rex has a huge farm out there in the Dales, which is always interesting listening to him talk.
Yeah, I struggle. Um, I must say because we lived over there for about 3 months when we moved from London, and I must say I struggled just understanding. What some of the words are, like maftin.
Hmm.
I I mean, just say you're hungry. Scran, like just say food. It's not hard. Um, and the other one is, you in what do you call it? Like, do you call it a lunchbox when you take your food into work? Like we call it a packed
Yeah,
lunchbox.
yeah. Taking your
Right?
lunch in.
They
I
call
mean,
it, yeah, they call it a snap. Which, I mean, apart from the sound of opening up the box, that's the only snap you're gonna get.
yeah.
Um, don't know why they say it. But we're being asked, did they miss the Manscaped ad? You did.
You did, Papa.
Um,
It was halfway through.
but we'll be honest, I don't think it hit like the other ones. I think we're going to get in touch with Manscaped and say, look, we need to up the quality of the comedy on this because it fell a little flat. Um, they'll probably turn around and say it was my fault because I didn't read it properly, but who knows? Um,
Yeah, they do send little funny things in each box that you get too from Manscaped. The little ads and whatnot that
oh,
are in there are pretty funny.
hold on. There is. See if I can get
Like
into
a
this
little
box.
newspaper almost, isn't it?
Oh, there is. I've got it here. Um, so I mean, I was trying to figure out why they put a newspaper in there, but it does actually make very good sense because it's actually a proper newspaper that you get in there, like, and it's huge. Like this is, see if I can put it in there. They do save balls. It's got a load of instructions, um, and the whole point of it, just for anyone who is wondering, is this is the most important thing you will need, especially if you have a partner. It's
Hmm.
gonna keep the house clean. Like this newspaper is super important. So um, you can see how big it is. That's just a quarter of it, and this is half the size. So it's like double the size of a normal newspaper, and that folds out into double the size of that. Um, so yeah, so it's actually got I had actually properly read it, so it's actually got instructions on there. So number two is get in position, and number three is the funniest one, which is find inspiration with a light bulb. Um, and it actually says you need to go into the chart on page two for our Mr. Johnson style options. Right, okay. Right. Let's have a look at this. They do have. Oh, okay. They do. Right. Can you see that?
Oh, nice.
You've actually
I, like,
got the
I like the thumbs up.
right. There is the thumbs up, um, and you've also got the social one, which is the little Twitter and a crossword. Right. So that's actually quite um like, so yeah. So I'll just see what this is. So that PhD looks so good enlarged like that. The PhD. What is the PhD? Have I missed something?
That's Papa's House of Game.
Um.
That's his name on his
Oh yeah,
logo
it
there.
does. Yeah. Let's just pop it back up. Yeah, it does actually. It
Yeah.
looks really, really good. Um. Gotta love the Manscaped advertising. Great stuff. Um. Whack the co-workers upside the head with a newspaper. And Papa, this is quality. We do try and bring. I am going to try and bring a bit more comedy to this podcast because one thing I'm finding is I'm getting a little bit more comfortable doing this, and part of my personality, which I've, like we were talking about earlier, like the whole comfortable being talking in front of people, is that I'm getting more comfortable doing this show and doing it live as well. It's again thanks to you for suggesting it. Is It's brilliant because like if we were just having this conversation, we would never have got Papa coming in there and saying about the Manscaped just off the cuff.
Uh
So
huh.
we would miss stuff like this. We would miss that comedy. And my personality in the real world is more of a wind up merchant. So I do like to wind people up for a laugh. I do like to play pranks on people. Um, So I'm hoping that that's going to come out a little bit more often
Yeah,
in these
I liked your
podcasts.
April Fool's thing, but it seemed like it wasn't well received for some reason. But
I think it kind of fell a bit flat. I think if you don't know Ribena, you would never have got the Rabana
uh huh.
on there, or the Rabena. So yeah, it's just I want to try and just do a bit of comedy as well. I'm not going to be a comedian, don't worry, guys. I'm not going to be trying to get you to do stand-up shows or expose you to them, but I've got a list of dad jokes coming, which you've. It was you that said it the other day, the Frozen one,
Yeah,
and I
that is a
thought
good one.
that was it was hilarious. My wife thought it was stupid, um,
Yeah,
so I just
yeah,
had to put her in her place. I had to say, look, that is a quality joke, right?
yeah, yeah. They don't understand. I just get head shakes whenever I say jokes to her. It's like, oh, there's always one
Arky's just
person
said dad
laughing in the room
jokes,
that's not her. Yeah, Arkies love dad jokes.
right? And also, like, obviously, it's common knowledge now that yeah, you can say, yeah, I'm a dad now, technically, yeah,
Yeah,
just just without the extra hassle for the next few months. So I need to get
it's going to be easy
a
for you
list of
for the next year or so until they get mobile, and then you start getting more involved.
yeah. To be fair, I am going to do so in the UK. You can actually share the parental leave, so I'm actually going to have the opportunity to do that, which is going to be good. It doesn't mean I can come on YouTube. I think, who knows? Maybe I'll go full time for 3 months.
There you
Um,
go.
but yeah, maybe what we should do is in a couple of months, just after I become a dad for real, we should have a podcast where we try and bring. I think I can have about 6 people on at the same time on this,
Ooh, so we could all do
and
dad
have
jokes.
so we could do dad jokes, a dad joke podcast. That would probably be a
That'd be
really good
fun.
idea.
Yeah, I'd be game for that.
Um, yeah, so Arkies, if you're up for that, we can get Sparks on. I'm pretty sure if Greasy and Briggs are up for it as well, and then we could actually have people dial in and out. So we could actually see, and then have someone come in and judge, do a poll to see who has the best dad jokes. Um, so that's actually another idea. So we need to get you more on the podcast to come up with great ideas. Um, but yeah, I also noticing with Papa here, with a little icon next to his name, which you do as well,
Yeah,
Combustion.
he said,
It's to say thank you because um, I haven't really publicized it, um, and just to have you guys sort of become channel members is something I wanted to thank you guys personally for, which it does mean a lot for the support. So yeah, and I just realised that it does come up
yeah, that's pretty
on the
cool.
chat as well on here. So yeah, so classic dad joke podcast. I'll watch that for sure. You can even join in if you want. Um, and we've got Island Grown popping in today. How you doing, mate?
IG,
Yeah.
I think
And oh,
Island
look at
Grown's
this.
Canadian, I believe.
Yeah. Is he?
Oh, it's
Oh, okay.
TSL? Yep.
TSL's there. Oi oi. As they do say. That's no. Are you from Essex? Because that sounds like a very Essexy um introduction. Um, but yeah. So, any questions from you guys? Because we've got a few people now that weren't in earlier. Any questions for CC? It's your chance to ask the man anything while he's not focused on driving and while his eyes are not covered.
Well, the
Um,
good part is I can still hear my chat while I'm driving. So, and now you can't hear the chat, which I think will annoyed some people with names that they didn't want to hear their name over and over again. So it's good for them. And like Sander SDS, when he came in, he was like SDS rah rah, like all this. It just say rah rah every time his name comes up. So
yeah.
only I hear that, which kind of makes me laugh while I'm driving around. But he doesn't hear it anymore. It was annoying him. So
So with that one, with the VR, I know in the PlayStation we can hear the chat when if we want to.
hmm
Um, so you can hear that through the VR too, is it?
no, I hear it through the PC. So I'm
Oh, through the PC.
So I've
So
got it
extra
in the
technology.
background hearing. So I'm hearing that. Plus, I'm hearing the game sound from the PC as well.
Yeah. Right. So we've also got Alf coming in. Welcome along, Alf. Now that is a car and a half. Seeing these pictures, like Briggs said earlier, in bigger size, that looks pretty good.
Is it a
You trying
car?
to
Is that?
figure
Is that a
out. Let us know,
Dodge?
Alf. It looks like a Dodge. It's definitely not a Mustang, I don't think.
What's up,
But it
Henry?
does look pretty good.
How did
What
I
else we
come up
got?
with the name
Uh,
Combustion Corner?
oh yeah,
Well,
that's. Oh yeah, hi Henry. Enrique. That's what I call him. Enrique.
Enrique. Well, I've always been into cars since I was a kid. The very first racing game I ever did was, well, obviously I did the ones on the Nintendo, which weren't that great, but there's a game called Top Gear on Super Nintendo. I don't know if you remember that or if anybody remembers that.
No, I don't
There was like a
actually.
Top Gear and Top Gear 2, but it was the best graphics at the time as far as, racing games went. So that's what got me into racing games. And I've had every PlayStation for the only four Gran Turismo since the first one. So I've played every Gran Turismo game there was, except for sport. I didn't really like sport because it was kind of watered down. It was mainly just online gaming, and back then I wasn't doing any online games. So it's like, well, it's lacking in content. But yeah, I've,
Yeah, I
I've
think.
got I've got lots of vehicles. We'll put it that way. I've got the Audi. I've got two classic trucks. I've got a '72 Chevy Cheyenne long bed, and I've got a '67 Chevy short bed, both with 350s and V8s. Um, and then let's see, I've got a Tesla as well. That's my main daily driver. So unfortunately, I'm in the same boat as Sparks, I believe. Is he the other Tesla driver?
Yeah, he is. I found that out the other day.
Yeah.
And I've got a love-hate relationship with Teslas, right? Which is I like Teslas and I hate them because I don't have one. Um, so I was actually looking at them, but it's just too expensive. I can't justify um the amount you spend on the Tesla over here at the moment. Um, but there is another electric car that's come out in the UK, which is a Mazda 4, not a Mazda, MG4, which is an electric sort of mini car. It's kind of the
Mm-hmm.
similar size of my Megane, but it's got like a 280-mile range on the charge, which for a small electric car is pretty
Nice.
decent.
That's really good. Yeah.
Um, and you can get them for about £25,000 brand new, which
Wow.
is quite
That's
attractive,
very good. Yeah.
but it's not a Tesla.
Yeah.
Um,
The
Arky's
Teslas are
had to go.
fast. That's for sure.
Yeah, Arky's had to go. So Arky, if you're still listening, see you later, mate. I will catch you soon.
Ooh, there's
Enjoy the ice
Alf.
cream.
Hello, Alf.
Yeah, Alpha's in there. Okay, so we found out what that was. It's a Buick GS455,
Ooh, nice.
um,
Yeah. The
which
headlights look very similar to even like a Chevelle. Um, like the '70 Chevelle. The headlights look a little similar to that. The
yeah,
'70 Chevelle is
he
my
said.
favorite car. Like my favorite old muscle car. Like a '70 454. That would be my dream car.
So what was that one? So which one? Sorry, I was reading the chat there.
A 1970 SS 454 Chevelle would be my dream car as
Right,
far as old muscle cars go.
I'm gonna have to look at it. But my dream car, which I don't know if I don't think I'll ever own it. It's 1969 Mustang,
Yeah,
also known as
I know
Eleanor.
there's one sitting about 300 yards from my house.
Yeah,
My neighbor has one. It is a
yeah.
nice car.
Ever since I saw the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, I just became like fascinated with that car. It was like, it, for one, cars are not made how they used to be made. Um, I know it won't go around corners because I know American cars are not made to go around corners.
No.
They're made to go either in a straight line or at a
Mm-hmm.
90-degree turn. You're not meant to do um, anything other than that, other than accelerate, stop, go left, go right. Um, even though they're pretty good now at going around corners, so you can't really use that joke anymore. But the the 60s and 70s American muscle cars. There's just something about them that's just so different
Mm-hmm.
to what we had in the UK. Brigsby's just saying it's $1 million car. Um, if I won the lottery, I would spend 1 million on that car.
Yeah.
I'd fly over to the States. I'd go to your neighbor. I'd say, "Do you want 2 million for it?" Um, yeah, there's just something about it. It's just so iconic, especially with like big chrome rims on it, and the black stripes. And here's one.
Yeah.
So Combustion needs a name change now to Quiet Corner. Um, you need a combustion engine for a daily. Tesla letting your name down. That is true.
It is
Um,
true. Yeah. It's just so cheap to drive is the thing. I mean, it costs me $5 to fill it up to 80%, and that gets me about 200 miles for $5. And it's like, well, it's hard to beat that as far as getting
it's a,
around. I love the sound of
but how
my
much?
my V8 Audis and my V8 Chevys, but man, I can put my foot down and watch the gas just go down.
I think there could be a bit of controversy with Tesla in the UK actually, because I didn't know about this, but my wife was because we were driving somewhere at the weekend. And I was like, "Oh, look at that Tesla! We should get one of those." Because I keep telling her what's is it the Model Y, which is the SUV,
Hmm.
I think, and they got
Yep.
the Model X as well, don't they? And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
if you
what
want to
about that
spend a
one?
lot more money
That's
on it. Yeah.
well, yeah." And then she says, "Well, Tesla are going to stop doing right-hand drive cars." And I was like, "What? Tesla? What we're going to do in the UK? So what they're going to do is the S is it the hold on, Model 3 and the Y will
Hmm.
carry on being right-hand drive, and the S and the X will only be left-hand drive in the UK."
Oh, really? So there must be just importing those in then from either somewhere in Europe where they actually do the left-hand drive, probably.
Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to affect the UK market with Teslas because, but then I'm guessing they're the most expensive ones, ain't they? So
They are.
I
You're
don't
only
know how
affecting a
that's.
few versus affecting the masses with the three and the
Yeah.
Y. Now I guess they're coming out with a cheap car too soon. So
Are they? So
yeah,
they're going to
well
take
they've
over
been
the
working on
world.
that for a while. Yeah.
Well, what's your take on the Cybertruck?
Uh, I think if I was, just in the 1980s and watching Back to the Future and the DeLorean and all that, I'd be excited about the Cybertruck. But I just don't like the look of it. It's not for me. It just looks like a wedge.
It looks. It's not even that safe, is it? You can break it with a. It's meant to be indestructible, and you can break the glass.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was the funniest thing. Throwing ball bearings at
um,
it. I was like, why would you do that?
you would test that first, wouldn't you? You'd make sure it's super reinforced.
You would hope
Um,
so.
but yeah, let's have a look at the last couple of messages.
And
So
as far
CC
as the
new name.
LS5 or the LS6, I would take either one. Alf, I wouldn't be picky
That's
on
over
those.
my head. I'm gonna have to Google all of these afterwards, and improve my knowledge. Um, but I'm kind of just knowing VGT cars, as you might have noticed. It's all I'm kind of focusing on at the moment. I like futuristic stuff,
Hmm.
but I do like the old stuff. What else? So you're going to be known as Quiet Corner. Um, for Alf, your new name is El Rob,
L Rob,
um,
Electric
which
Rob.
seems to be yeah. That I didn't clock on that. I was thinking the Spanish language as El Rob.
Oh,
Uh,
so yeah, El
um,
Roberto.
El Roberto. And
Hmm.
I'm sure it's cliche, but my dream car is any of the Skyline GTR 32, 33, or 34 models. I
Those are
think,
pretty sweet.
Briggs, is that because you can't get them in the USA?
You can. They just have to be old enough. And if you're a
Yeah,
mailman, you can import them in because they're all right-hand drive.
yeah,
So for a mailman, they can order all these old cars from all Japan.
yeah.
So
It's what for us over here. Everyone used to have like a Skyline back in the day. it was like a common car. Like I knew about four people who had a Skyline in the early 2000s, and the things you would do to it, people might think it's sacrilege. You Parts of it ripped out. It'll be completely changed over, completely different wheels. There was body kits on them. It was just complete chaos with them. Um, if only those people knew they can import them to the USA for millions.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Well, I have
Um,
a cousin that he was wanting to go in with me and start, like, out since I was going over there every year, and then start shipping back land, um, or Range Rovers, all those the Land
yeah,
Cruisers, the older ones that you can actually get over here. Now, I think is it 20 years? They have to be 20 years old before you can import them into the U.S. I think
I think it is 20 years. I
the
think that's what I read.
Defenders, because the Defenders here, I mean, they go for so much money. So he's like, let's just start importing them to the U.S. and we'll just split the profit. I'm like, well, okay, we could do
Oh,
that if you really want to.
they're dirt cheap over here. I mean,
Yeah.
I think my sister had a Discovery, and I think she got it for like ridiculous amount. Even the guy who lives across there, he's got a Discovery sitting in his drive. And I'm pretty sure that thing hasn't moved for about 2 years. It's just sitting there, full of
Hmm.
leaves, full of dust. Um, so yeah, so if those cars like you send them over to the US, it's like worth like 10 times. It's just I don't.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, I've got a buddy that I think he bought it for probably close to 60,000, and it's just an old Defender that when I
Wow.
was over there, I think I could have picked one up for 5,000 pounds or something like that when I was up there in Yorkshire area.
Let's have a quick look. Let's do this on the fly. I'm going to present
Let's
this
see.
quickly.
Hello, Andrew.
Um,
Hello, Travis. How are you guys?
right, let's just share this tab, um, and I'm going to go into Auto Trader, right, which is a car dealer site over here. Um, can you actually? I'll put it onto this screen here so I can still see. Right. So it's a Defender, isn't it? So let's just
Mm-hmm.
put. Actually, we'll do national. And we're going to search. Where's the make? Yeah, we're going to go Land Rover Defender, right?
Yep, Defenders.
Right. What's this search?
This
Right.
is all fancy.
Let me pop this away for a second, just so I don't give away addresses.
Sure.
Right. There we go. It's not my address anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Right. Is this what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
you're saying
so
this goes for
something.
about 60 grand.
Yeah. Well, and upwards. That one might go for more.
That's bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
So at least 3 times the cost of what it
Yeah.
is in the UK. The car market's mental. Like over here, you buy a car and you lost money already as soon as you drive it out. Um,
Yeah.
right, I've got a question
That's my
for you.
Halo, Eric. Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're looking at the chat as well. So yeah, um, he's that's your Halo, and it's
Yeah.
glowing.
I can
Um,
change them. Was it different
oh, your
settings?
remote's not working.
Is it not working? No.
You need to, you need to get a little smart speaker.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. That's perfect. I've been told off about the amount of LED lights I've got in this room, um,
There we go.
because I've got a blue light above me, one to the side. I've got behind that cover there, it's full of LEDs. Behind the
Oh,
TV, and I still want to get a few more. But I've got them all linked up to my smart speaker, which I'm not going to say her name because she'll start annoying me. Um,
is
and
it
I want to
Echo?
program it
I
so.
changed mine to Echo because
Oh,
my
did you?
son knows the names of them all, so he'll talk to mine, and it's getting ready to talk to me since I just said its name. Don't say anything.
Yeah, mine's the actual name. It's not the. I could say Echo, uh, but I want to get it set up so that if someone walks to the doorbell, that it flashes red when I'm playing. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, no, that.
we'll start
See,
finishing
I
up
set up
in.
my office just for stuff like this because I've got a key light in here. Speaking of lights, I don't
Yeah,
know. It's got the. I got an aperture. I spent too much on money on a light a long time ago.
I can tell. I can tell. Your depth of field is making me envious.
Well, that's my camera.
Which
So it's a Canon
I know.
EOS R with a 1.4 aperture on
Is
it.
it mirrorless?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've got a bit of gear envy because I tried to use my DSLR, but it doesn't seem to connect to my computer. It's a bit older, and the wife won't let me get a mirrorless, which I really really want. Um,
Well, I think my DSLR works too. I actually use a DSLR for my streaming.
yeah. Well, my one's the Nikon, as you'd say. I say Nikon.
Nikon. Yeah.
32. Yeah, 3200.
Nice.
Which is a bit older, and it doesn't have all the fancy features. But it's back in the day when I used to try and want to be a photographer. Um,
Nice. I actually
which
do
I
photography as well. That's the only reason I justify it.
right, okay. So what sort of photography are you into? We should prepare this. We might need to have another episode for this because you're just a bag full of gifts, ain't you?
Yeah, well, I've got a lot of hobbies. We'll put it that way. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, so lately all I've been doing is like photo shoots for big dog fundraising events because the missus
yeah,
heads up a dog rescue, or she helps
yeah,
head up one. Um, so I'm constantly doing like photo shoots for dogs just to they'll come and pay money, so it'll all go donation
yeah.
wise to helping out other dogs. So
That's pretty good. Um, I went for a phase where I think I had a bit of talent, which I think kind of translates into my thumbnails, which I think I mentioned before.
hmm
Um, I love long exposures, like to the point
that I
where
haven't got too much into. I need to. Because I was like,
um,
I'd like to do one with the stream where so it's
yeah.
like a nice blurry water picture. But yeah, I've got lenses sitting
I
around
mean, if
all over the place. So like here's
I've got a
100
bag over
millimeters
there
sitting
somewhere.
around. Here's another one.
I'm actually
This
gonna
one
try.
I
While
use.
you find that, I'll get one of my
I use this
favorite
one all the
photos
time.
up. This is one of
The
my
24 to 70 is my favorite lens. That's what I use all the time.
oh, that is a good. What's the aperture on that one?
1.8,
Oh, that's pretty good.
2.8.
Uh, just for anyone who's wondering, it's just all about how much light goes into the camera.
Yeah.
Which anything, the lower the number, the nicer the photo is. Anyway, I'm going to put it.
Yeah, the better the
But also
bokeh.
the
So
more
you got
expensive.
that's why
Yeah.
it's all blurred out. Those lights are all blurry because it's set on 1.4 at the moment.
Oh, that's what I don't know if you notice on my streams. I try and mimic that because I've been using a
Yeah.
phone through a camo app, and it's not quite the same thing, and it's the best I can get at the moment. But I try and get the bokeh on there. But this is probably the best photo I've ever taken.
Oh, nice. That is really
Um,
cool.
that's the first take. Um, but if I tell you that it took me about an hour to get that one photo, you would probably believe it. Most people probably wouldn't.
hmm
Um, but it was through the phase where I was like, I could just look at a photo, especially with long exposures, and actually can just sit there for about 5-10 minutes and just telling different things that happen in the image.
hmm
Like with this one here, I mean, when they say a picture says 1,000, like that picture to me is like a video,
hmm
because in there you've got cars going, you've got people moving around, you've got buses. Um, you can tell it's daytime, nighttime. Um, yeah, and photographs can lie. So when someone says photos don't lie, I'm going to tell you this: they can lie because I took a picture about 300 yards away from that, on the other side from the bridge, and it was completely full of people. Daytime, actually, no, it was nighttime. That one, and it looks like there's no one there. I just left that shutter open for so long that it just no one was
Just
there.
literally a
People just
blur.
disappeared.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't even a blur. They just disappeared because there's no light that stays stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they had a torch, you could see the light going through. But yeah, it's just photography. We might have a photography podcast now as well. So,
That'd be fun.
um, but
Hey,
yeah,
Wolfie.
we'll wrap it up because
But yeah, I've
say
got
hello to
my
the last
drone
few
license
people.
as well. I don't know if so. I've got
You
drones
you,
too
you
that
are
I use
trying
for.
to you're trying to wind me up, ain't you? Uh, I need to get my
Yeah, I've
drone
got.
out. It's not a DJI. It's a cheap one that I got given a couple of years ago. But yeah, um, yeah,
I think
you
mine's
are
the
trying to.
Mavic 2 or something like that.
Right, what he's saying is my one is a cheap toy, and his one is a piece of kit that is used by militaries around the world. Um, yeah, I can't fly them though, to be honest, because I mean it's probably because my one is so light and it's made out of plastic that it just any little bit of wind it just kind of just disappears.
That is the hard part
Um,
with them. And the gimbals on
yeah,
those
and don't
the DJIs are so good. It keeps everything. I mean, you can see the camera like as it's staying still, but your drone's like this. Sometimes it's fighting the wind.
yeah, but yeah, it's just I had to have one at the wedding. That was one thing I said we had to have. Because she only wanted the photographer. I said, no, we need a photographer and we need a videographer. And she's like, why do we need a videographer? I'm like, so you can capture the moment. You can remember what happened. Like, you can hear people talk. And then I was like, yeah, we need a drone as well. And she's like, what do we need a drone for? Like, what on earth do we need one for? Turns out I was right. So, you know, it's got probably some of the best wedding footage on the drone. And it was a DJI.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, right. Let's just say goodbye to these last few people. It's been a pleasure, mate, having you on.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks for having me, man.
yeah. No, honestly, we've got to do this again. We've got to um, do the dad joke podcast now at some point, which will be a very good idea. Um, again, thank you for suggesting doing the lives. It's been a complete game changer for the podcast. Um, just being able to see the engagement here of the chat, which is um, unreal. We'll say hello to Wolfie as well. Um, Henry, Papa, Ector, Island Grown, Viking, Briggs. Hey peeps. GT7 should have a drone mode on replays. I completely agree. Um, that would make for some epic photos and it would make for some epic thumbnails. That's all I'm going to say. Um, and again, thanks for the interview to both of us. So good stuff as always. Uh, ah, Thanks, guys. Sorry for the late arrivals, but nice to see and hear from you, lads. And you could definitely catch it all on VOD in the next few minutes. And it will also be on Spotify in the next couple of days. And Briggs, awesome to see this chunky NCC. And Enrique, thanks to both of us. Glad I could catch the last of the interview. Oh, we've still got some people popping in. That
Oh,
would be
there's
awesome
Scott.
from Deke and Scott.
Scott and
Hey,
Deke.
chunky NCC. So yeah, so we'll try and do live episodes every other week. We'll try and get some pre-records in between as well, because I know not everyone wants to do it live, which is completely fair. Um, but the lives
There's
add a
Nas.
complete different dimension, I think. Hey Naz, um, and yeah, and there's people that I've never seen before, so it's always good. So I'm sure we'll get you back on at some point. We'll
Yeah,
try
that'd be
and do some
fun.
more dad jokes. I'll definitely put the dad jokes one in there for somewhere before Christmas. We might have to have. I think someone said about a rave. We'll might have a rave during. I've got an idea. I've got an idea, and it might be in a couple of months, in just over 2 months. So keep an eye out on that, and it'll make sense what it is. But yeah, so thank you. Anything you want to say before we go?
No, this is great. This has been fun. I'm looking forward to the dad jokes and the and the new stuff you got coming up. So it's definitely been great,
Yeah,
great opportunity. So thank you.
no, good stuff, mate. And guys, if you haven't, I'm not going to say it because everyone here is subscribed to Combustion already, probably by now. So, but if you haven't and you're watching this later, go and check the guy out. Probably one of the nicest people in the GT7 community. Always there for everyone. So it'll be good to see that support shown the other way around as well. So yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you very much, guys. And we will see you soon. Chunky and Combustion out.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you
Yeah.
later.
See you later, guys.